So when you want to talk about a particular topic, just bring it in.
All right, you got it. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Cosplay Bites, the show all about cosplays, conventions, and all the nerdy bits and bytes. I don't know how this is going to go as far as afterwards, so this may be the last episode of 2019, but as always, I'm joined with my wonderful friend, Mink the Satyr.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing actually pretty well. I have a semi-awake hedgehog in my lap. Hello, little one. So things could not be better.
Yeah. Is it the newest edition?
No, this is my oldest dog. So I have 3 hedgehogs now. One of them is super old and rickety. That's the one who's in my lap right now. Her name is Rosalina. Then I have my next baby is Tybalt, but he is unfortunately super cancer ridden, and we're in his twilight of his life right now. So we're counting down, but also keeping in mind how much we love him.
Right.
He's not long for this world. And then I did just get a new hedgehog literally this week. She's a year old, and her name is Willa.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Hello, Willa.
Oh, Willa's in the other room. I've got Rosalina here.
Okay, she can't hear you. Hello, Rosalina.
Rosalina, in fact, can hear you. She's just choosing not to react because she's half asleep.
All right. Well, there you have it. I'm talking to pets that can't hear me. All right.
She puffs now, for what it's worth.
So as I had mentioned in the last episode when we talked about convention controversies and BlizzCon, I wanted to basically I took November off to just reassess the show, where I want the stance to have and tackle more community related topics that need to be addressed. But before I get to that, just usual administration housekeeping stuff. Cosplay Bites is a podcast. It's on all your favorite podcasting platforms. So if you'd like to rate and review the show, that would help out a lot. December's here. My hiatus is over, so I've got posts planned out and scheduled up. You can read posts on a game review I did on Astral Chain, Princess Natalie Thor, who I met at New York Comic Con. She was a delight. Jessica Negri looted Surfetch, so of course I had to talk about it. And then upcoming for this week, I have Pokemon Sword and Shield game review, Cinderis's Yadira, and a post on Danielle Blue's Dragon Stalker Orc from BlizzCon. And let me double check over here. Oh, shout out to my current patron supporters over on Patreon. I have my friend Shaylin, Noah, Kendall, and then there was also Nicole Marie Jean, Coralia Jade, Cat Yuska Moonfox, and Mink the Satyr. Oh, and my
I know that girl.
Yeah, I know that girl too. She's right here. So with that being said, talking about more cosplay related community topics, in addition to, we're going to briefly talk about Rhode Island Comic Con because I was there for one day. Mink, you were there for
2 days. You had to think about
it. Two days. I was going to say all 3 days, but 2 days. And then we also want to talk about just being safe while you're in cosplay at conventions. It may be specifically tailored to females because I know females can get a lot of creeps, like either stalking them or just being outright rude. So all that good stuff. Just to try to help prepare newcomers as well as veterans if we mention like any new methods for the new year, because 2020 is a month away, and then before you know it, boom, MagFest and CatcherCon are right around the corner.
Oh my God! Don't even get my blood pressure going. Yeah, but I like that. 2020 is gonna be our year of safety and support.
Yeah, yeah. So, why don't we do Rhode Island Comic Con first? Because I feel like the safety thing is going to be a little bit more in depth. So,
It'll bring the room down a little bit, so we can start on a high note.
yeah. So yeah, Rhode Island Comic Con, my home state, good old Ocean to Date, held at the Dunkin' Donuts Center / Rhode Island Convention Center. They're both connected. And
They are. I was always confused about that because the Dunkin' Donuts Center does have things going on in it. They have vendors in like that ring around where they would do like whatever sport the Dunkin' Donuts Convention Center is hosting. But I feel like I didn't spend any time there, and I do feel bad because I know there are a lot of very amazing vendors who kind of lose out by being there.
Right. No, yeah, because around the ring, I just remember because I would used to go there for the Providence Bruins hockey games, like they would be in the arena. But I remember one year where some of the cosplayers, like they were stationed in the convention center, but then the next day they got moved to like the Dunkin' Donuts Center like arena. Like they were in the arena. Like it was all opened up. Like this year was completely shut off, which I found to be very weird. Because it was like, yeah, you're just going in a giant circle, passing vendors.
It's like a vendor hall that isn't the official expo hall. It's a unique and bizarre setup. I feel like that would probably be a better opportunity for like, I don't know, an artist alley.
Oh yeah, that might have worked out a little better. Yeah.
Well, because then it would be an attraction. It would be something that I wanted to go to, kind of like how in other conventions, like, you know, these large scale Comic Cons tend to separate the retailers from the artisans so that they have the big space for the retailers that the retailers need, but they also have a designated space specifically for artisans so that if you were interested in getting work that was produced by a person that you can physically see in front of you, then you could go to the artist alley.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so you could like travel around the convention more. That might be a good idea.
If I ran a convention.
If I ran a convention, it would be like this.
Boy, I eat candy every day. You know, it's easy to talk a big talk about running a convention, but running a convention is hard.
Yeah, it can be. So let's see.
Did you go to any panels this
year? Did I go to any panels this year? No. I never.
Yeah, I missed out as well. I feel like I would have enjoyed it, but I didn't ever have the opportunity to look through the program, which is my fault, but
right.
I like panels. They're fun.
Like my rule is that like I really don't go to panels anymore unless the topic is very, very interesting to me, or like
running it.
Or if I would run it, yeah, or if I went with a group of friends, because I know we went to PAX East this year. They had a game night thing where they gave out prizes by playing like Price is Right kind of game showy stuff, and I spent time in there before we had to leave to catch our train back home. Well, me and one other person in our group. Yeah, that's pretty much my panel rule because I feel like it's a giant time commitment, and part of me is like, oh, I could be running around like buying more shit or or spending time with friends that aren't going to panels. I don't know. That's just my thing.
My shameless plug is that my panels are always entertaining because it's 50% information, 50% entertainment. So everyone should, if you ever see a panel, as brought to you by Mink the Satyr, please consider going because it is always a rocket's good time.
Yeah, I
I
wish.
even run my R on rocket. That's how you know it's a good time.
Yeah, I'm still kicking myself. I should have stayed. I don't know what made me think that the last train out of New York City to Long Island was at 6 o'clock. Like, no.
He's talking about New York Comic Con. I did a panel with a group of other cosplayers. Collectively, we are referring to ourselves as Trash Fire Productions. That's myself, Rocket Props, E Cosplay, and Expletives and Thread. That's one person's name. We go around to various conventions doing a series of panel presentations. Usually, we do like a cosplay on a budget or a cosplay hacks panel. Those seems to be the ones that are most requested by conventions. So I think we did cosplay hacks the night that you had to leave early on New York Comic Con.
Yeah, and I wanted to go, but I looked at the train schedule, and
I mean, New York City trains are garbage. I love them, but the train schedule is just it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I could have left at a much later time, like after your panel ended, but it's like the thing didn't refresh, so my mind was like, "What do you mean the last train is at 6 o'clock at night? Are you serious?" So, oops.
Oh well.
So
back to Rhode Island.
Yeah, back to Rhode Island. I managed to run into a friend of mine, and we did walk around a bit. I was slightly surprised. I feel like I'm always surprised by the amount of guests that Rhode Island manages to get for like celebrities.
Rhode Island is one of those cons that's very guest heavy. Fan Expo Boston is similarly very guest heavy. And when I say guest, I'm referring to like celebrities.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like there were a couple of cosplayers that I knew that were there, but then like getting to like the real big celebrities,
like Elijah Wood was there, I think.
Elijah Wood? Oh yeah, no, I think he was there. I didn't see him. I saw.
Oh, I didn't either. I don't ever see any of the celebrities. I'm content to simply be in a room with them because I don't have $80 for somebody to sign a piece of paper for me. I don't.
Yeah. Charles Martinet was there.
Mm-hmm. And this is very topical because, of course, we're recording on the day of the Big Bird's puppeteers passing. But he was there.
I was going to mention that. Yeah, Carol Spinney was there, which is interesting. Rest in peace.
Actually, so my friend made a cake for him to celebrate, like, I guess it was 50 years of him puppeting Big Bird.
And this was going to be I think this con was his last convention appearance, period.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So it was a very intimate event. She got to present the cake to him. It was fabulous. Beautiful sculpture of Big Bird and fondant. Like, absolutely cool. It was a touching moment for her. And, the world is a little less bright without him in our lives.
Yeah. I didn't realize he also did Oscar the Grouch.
I was today years old when I found that out.
Yeah, because I mean, I would see his name and his face, and then it would always be next to Big Bird, and it was like, oh, so he did the voice / puppeteer. Yeah, okay, sure. But no, it was listed that he also did Oscar the Grouch. I was like, oh, okay.
IMO Oscar forever.
Yeah, I think there were a couple of Star Trek guys there, a couple of Power Rangers.
Oh yeah, I think I remember seeing that there were a few Power Rangers.
Multiple people from Gotham were there. John Wesley Shipp, the 90s Flash, was there. Yeah. I was very tempted.
I was woefully unprepared for what celebrities were at this particular convention, but that's okay.
Yeah. I was very tempted to get a lot of nerdy themed items for when I eventually get my own place. I held back because I really wasn't in the mood to spend more money I did run into someone that I met at New York Comic Con who specialized in doing these insane like dragon drawings.
Cool.
And I got one. I met the guy at New York Comic Con, and I got a placemat that I used on my desk. Like I put my laptop on top of it. But then
Yeah, I've got a mat like that too. Mine has Magikarp on it.
yeah,
Of course it does.
of course it does. But he had new stuff, and I was taking a look at it. I was like, oh crap, this is pretty awesome. So I bought another mat. So now I've got 2 mats that are on my desk. One is now where I have my laptop on top of, and then the other one's like in an area where I guess a keyboard would go. Like if I had a desktop, which I don't.
If I had one.
If I had one, but why would I need one? And then I decided, you know what? I'll frickin' pledge to your Patreon. Like your art is pretty incredible. So like, why not?
Awesome.
Yeah, he did very
Always
nice.
support your favorite artists.
Yeah, he hooked me with the 2 pieces that I got. So I did get to spend time with you and League of Larcy. You were both dressed as Wooloo in
That's right. And
preparation
I feel
for.
like some people knew what we were. It was tough. The actual day of Rhode Island Comic Con is the first weekend in November, but Pokemon Sword and Shield did not come out until the second weekend in November.
No, I believe it was the 3rd.
No, Sword and Shield came out the 15th.
The 15th?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, but isn't that the 3rd week?
Oh no, that is the 3rd weekend this year.
The second weekend was when I picked up my Switch Lite, which was the Pokemon themed Switch Lite.
Yeah, you're right. I had to pull up a calendar because I was like, no, that couldn't have been the 3rd weekend. Oh, dang.
It was the 3rd weekend.
Yikes, man. Well, I mean, the first weekend of November literally just was like Rhode Island Comic Con was like the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Yeah.
So it's a little early for low-key nerds to know fully what we were. A lot of people were like, I don't know what you are, but you're wicked cute, which, please, I'll take that. That is totally fine by me.
Yeah. And then you were toothless on another day.
That Sunday was the Rhode Island Comic Con cosplay contest, so I decided to wear toothless on Sunday rather than on Saturday.
Right.
That was a delightful competition. I won't lie though. I discovered something that kind of broke my heart a little bit.
Uh-oh.
And so anytime I go to a cosplay contest backstage, that's where I meet the cool people. Like that's where I get to see artists and like talk to them about like what did they do, tell them that they're great. Like this is where stunning and amazing people congregate, is backstage the cosplay contest.
Sure.
But what happens is you get a lot of people who are very talented who feel like they have to enter themselves as novice, or the contest rules state that they have to enter themselves as novice if they haven't competed before or if they have not won anything before, which is dumb.
Huh.
Because if you've been making costumes for 20 years, you're not a novice.
No.
So you see these people with brilliant, beautiful costumes, and you're like, oh my gosh, what division are you in? And they're like, oh, I'm a novice. You know, it just boggles my mind. So that makes me sad that like there are contests that force you to stay down, or people who might not feel strongly enough about their own talents to like put themselves in the category that they actually deserve to be in, which cosplay judges can move you to a higher category at their own discretion. I've done it loads of times where I've had someone enter as a novice, and I'm like, I ain't judging this person as a novice, at least a journeyman. That's the mid-tier. But speaking of journeyman, there are a lot of people who are in the journeyman division who should be in the master's division. And it just makes me so sad that they either don't feel like they can are masters in their work, which is stupid because their work is beautiful.
Right.
Or because of these like antiquated convention rules, they're not allowed to be a master's division because they didn't win enough journeyman awards.
So
think
so it's either
you have to win 3, or you have to win best in your class. I don't know. All I know is that one year I competed as a novice, another year I competed as a journeyman, and then another year I competed as a master's. That was when I was only doing one competition a year. And then once I started competing as a master's, I was like, well, I guess I'm a master's now.
Yeah. So
but when I first started competing, I was told, nope, if you've never competed before, you have to be a novice, even if you aren't. And I was like, well, that's dumb, because I think the novice division should be reserved for people who are new to the art of costuming.
Yeah.
I think that we should be judging their work with that lens, as opposed to someone who's super experienced being in the novice division, because it's like, well, they're gonna win and make the new people feel like garbage, that they're not as good.
Yeah, so it's either like bullshit convention cosplay contest rules, or the participant themselves are very I guess I'll say like low in their confidence, that they feel like, something that they think that others think is phenomenal, they're not really that confident. So they're like,
far too many of my friends are brilliant crafters, but do not consider themselves to be masters. And I think that that's a travesty, because they clearly are.
absolutely. Yeah.
If they would just compete at the master's level and probably win something, then they would see it for themselves. So a lot of it is just like taking the leap and just like jumping in both feet and just saying, this is what it is now.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I loved competing at the Comic-Con, at the Rhode Island Comic-Con competition. But the number of people in my division were so few. I think it was something like there had to be close to 50 people who were competing, like overall.
50 people.
And
That's
then
a lot.
the Masters division, I think there were only 5.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That's a jump.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's a very small percentage of the group. There's like a math percentage here. And I can tell you right now, there were more than 5 master level costumes in that bunch. Just a lot of people either were kept at novice because of convention rules they thought they had to follow, or they didn't have the confidence to go from journeyman to masters, because a lot of it is self-elected.
Right.
No one's like, no one went up to me and they were like, oh, you're a master, prove it. Like
What?
Self-reported.
Was there any place where you could like express concern to maybe like suggest changes for like future cosplay contests? Well,
I don't think a costume contest can really make a change in this particular case, because Rhode Island Comic-Con did not, to my knowledge, have any rules saying if you've never competed, you have to be a novice.
Right, okay.
You self-elected into whatever category at sign-up. So I don't think there was anything the convention could do to get more masters to participate. I think that was just, a function of, for whatever reason, on that particular day, at that particular convention, there were a lot of very talented artists who all believed that they were journeymen. Yeah.
Sounds like you gotta talk some sense into people. It's like, no, you're talented. Go in this
Oh my
division.
god, typically I have though. It always sounds like I am trying to like sell somebody something though. I must come off like a used car salesman because I've literally told friends like, hey, heard a rumor you were gonna be in this contest as at least a journeyman, right? And they're like, no, I went novice. I'm like, I'm gonna need you to make a change. Because you're too good.
I'm gonna stop you right there. That's
Oh,
stupid.
seriously, like I had this conversation with one friend where I was like, honey, you're a master. Why are you going as novice? And she's like, well, this is like only my second competition. I was like, don't care.
Nope.
Next. Bye, Felicia. Like, oh man, it was
Oh my god.
it was okay because as it happened, I was judging that contest.
Oh.
So I moved her to journeyman. Like we got her paperwork, we saw her stuff. I turned to the other judges and was like, so he's at least a journeyman. I think I might have lost.
No, I got it. I'm back. Oop.
Yeah, I
Never
lost you for a second.
That's all right. We're good.
Cool. But yeah, I mean that's my little diatribe about costume contests. It's just like it's such an interesting phenomenon, and I can't put my finger on why it makes me sad to see. But I think it's just like my inner self-righteousness is like, but you're talented. You should be noticed for your talent.
Yeah, no, that's something supportive friends do. It's like hype them up.
But then I'll like the saddest thing to me, the absolute saddest thing, is when I see two cosplayers backstage and they say, what division are you in? And someone says, not the division the person who was asking the question is, and they're like, oh, thank God. Like, there's nothing sadder than that, because basically what's happening is those two people are meeting and sizing each other up and deciding, am I competing against this talent?
Oh, right, yeah. Ugh. Oh boy.
Meanwhile, Larcy was like, I'm competing against you and there's nothing you can do about it. And I was like, hot dog.
Well, I mean, yeah, she's definitely the kind of person that would just like, she'd do what she want.
Well, she didn't start that way. She was very nervous about competing as a master the first time around. But now I think she's really feeling her oats now, and she's feeling like really good about it. But she had won Best in Show at, I want to say, PortCon 2018.
Okay.
Made her an automatic master's henceforth. So she was just like, I think this was the first contest we were competing against each other.
Dun, dun,
no,
dun.
I think PortCon 2019 we competed against each other. I don't know. Anyway, she was being silly about it, and I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
That's good.
I was secretly hoping that she would win, because then we'd use her prize money to buy lemonades. Instead, we used my prize money to buy lemonades.
Oh no.
Oh no, it's all good. I also bought a Victory Toothless plush at the local Build-A-Bear workshop.
Oh, okay.
I spent $7 extra to make toothless sounds when you squeeze its paw.
Oh my gosh. Oh, of course you did.
Shut up, you know you love it.
Yeah. Oh, and then you, being who you are, Miss Bad Influence Pokemon plushie addict.
No, what did I do?
Well, you made me get a plushie.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we saw. So
no regrets. I only bought 2 this time.
Yeah, no, Mink knew a couple of people that were vendors that specialized in selling Pokemon plushies, and
their vendor name is literally the Awesome Couple.
Yeah. Yep. And I think at the time I only had a Blastoise plushie that it's a story in itself of how I got that.
I'm trying to remember who you went home with.
I bought Totodile.
Oh, that's right.
Because Totodile is best boy.
I bought a Spearow because who the hell finds Spearow? Super
No
common
one.
in the wild, not common in Pokemon plushies. And I bought an original flavor of Zigzagoon, now that there are 2 flavors of Zigzagoon.
I almost went with Sobble, but then I thought to myself, wait, I commissioned a lovely friend of mine to make me like a Sobble-esque Spirit Hood kind of thing. So I was like, I don't need this. I have a Spirit Hood coming.
I also own that Sobble. As soon as Jamie and Jessica, the awesome couple, got them in stock, I, no joke, drove to their house in New Hampshire so that I could pick up the starter plush Pokemon because I wanted to be the first home slice in town.
Have you have you seen like the advertisement from like Pokemon social media of how I guess the Pokemon Center store is getting more plushies based on the new Galar Pokemon?
Really? You're gonna ask me if I've heard of that? Are you kidding me?
I know, that's a stupid question. Oops.
Trying to. I'm like an addict trying to hold myself back because really I just want Wooloo. That's one of the 5 that they've announced. Surprise face that they did not announce that they've got a Yamper because they need to have a Yamper.
Oh,
I will not
have a Yamper.
I have both of these things, but I will be okay if I at least get my Sheepy Girl.
Yeah. Yeah, Wooloo was announced, Corviknight was announced. Oh my god.
Okay, but it's not Yamper. I want my stupid Korg.
Yeah. I'm like, oh man, if they make a Bolton plushie, give me.
Bolton is beautiful, beautiful flipping design.
Yeah, I know. That was slight tangent. Like, I mean, we're both on a Pokemon Sword and Shield high. I mean, I just recently beat the game. I cleared it in a week because I'm insane. And then I'm pretty much done for now in terms of getting Pokemon that I like. But like, there were certain as you'll read in my review, like I was crying tears of happiness at some of the designs that like thank God I didn't get spoiled on. Like I didn't realize that Corviknight was like the quote unquote standard 3-tiered bird Pokemon that every generation. Man. I was
Wait, how did you not figure that?
What?
You didn't just assume?
No, I thought that was just like a high level bird that you get eventually, but then I saw Rookidee, and then it leveled into Corvisquire. I was like, no way. It makes sense.
For me, the shock was that they were gonna front load on Wooloo right away. Because I thought for sure as soon as the internet fell in love with this beautiful little sheep, that they were gonna be like, yeah, but you can't get it until Route 10. By the way, this is obviously an old school reference to Pokemon Red and Blue, where you couldn't all the best Pokemon were on Route 10. It's you could get Rapidash on Route 10, and you get an Eevee on Route 10, but it was one of the later routes on the game, and you're like, thanks.
Yeah, and then I got spoiled on Nickit and Thievul, but I took one look at it oh my god, I want you. But then I knew about Yamper. I didn't realize he evolved, and then he evolved, and I took one look at Bolton, and it's oh, my heart.
Oh, I'm getting spoilers left and right. Left and right.
So
I was like, give me them spoilers.
Yeah. I was also very amazed at the unique evolve conditions for some of the Pokemon, specifically with Farfetch'd, how you had to get 3 critical hits in a row, or not in a row, in one battle for him to evolve. So it's oh, interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's no, I don't have, I mean, I do have both games, but I am currently playing Shield, so that is a mystery to me, although it's not because I've been watching Let's Plays and all kinds of YouTube videos
Oh yeah.
Soothe my savage soul.
Right. It
I'm a garbage human who only can get my thrill through Pokemon and cosplay.
Yeah, I guess it didn't really hit me that like the mystery gift Meowth, that's a Gigantamax. Uh he can't evolve.
No, none of the Gigantamaxes can. That's why it's BS that my Eevee mystery gift thing can't evolve. I was like,
Right.
great, now I can catch one in the wild, but it's fine because you can get Eevee really, really quickly. I think it's like on Route 3.
Right.
And now that I have a Ditto, all I have to do is just like pop an Eevee. I actually just breed my Gigantamax Eevee because its offspring can evolve. So I'm just like, oh, but I want a Flareon. Okay.
Yeah, you could find them in the wild area too, as I've discovered.
What, Flareon? Yeah, I heard that, but I'm only at the third gym because I'm grinding like a fiend.
Oh,
So
so
like,
you're gonna be like you're gonna be over
like,
leveled.
oh, I know I'm over leveled. My Pokemon are all like, I have an entire party that's in their mid 50s. Oh, it's bad. I also have a Pokedex of like, I don't know, 175 because I'm going through every Pokemon that I've caught and just evolving them.
Right.
So, that means I've got a Chandelure, which means I took a Litwick and I leveled it up to level 40 because that's what you do when all of your enemies are like level 30. You just grind,
Yep.
grind, grind.
Yeah, like all my Pokemon now are like in their 60s or somewhere upwards into the 80s. This is like the most fun I've had leveling up
I
Pokemon.
enjoy I enjoy the game deeply. There are some people who are like, it's the same thing but a different color, and I'm like, yeah. And also, so I appreciate that they basically have like a Breath of the Wild theme open world area because that makes me happy. That brings me joy. Also, I like how many little sparkles there are that I can pick cool stuff up from because that means my inventory is always full.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the clothing options.
Mm.
Oh my gosh.
So
Yes,
apropos to nothing, we should probably start talking about the thing that we set out to talk about.
Sure. So just to wrap up, Rhode Island Comic Con. I find it to be only good to go at least a day if I know like a bunch of friends of mine that are gonna go, and I just
Yeah,
hang out with them.
I had a lovely time with my friends. I had a lovely time consuming some of the media that was there. I had a nice time. I was just a guest. I didn't do a panel, and I wasn't going as a guest. So it was literally just me being a convention goer, and that was oddly relaxing.
Right. Okay. So on to the somewhat main-ish topic. Convention safety. If you're in a cosplay, um, I don't want to just count that male cosplayers don't get harassed. They do. It's just not widely reported because I mean, as a society, why would a man? It's like stupid society rules. Like, why would a guy be creeped out if a girl was all touchy feely on him? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Not
And
always
it's
a
like,
girl,
yeah, but
but
just
sometimes it is. I mean, regardless of your gender, conventions draw out a variety of people who have variety of interpretations of what is socially acceptable.
right,
Sometimes the people who are just close talkers, and that can in itself put people on the defensive because close talking kind of breaks into your personal comfort zone.
yeah,
And that can put people on high alert, and that can make you think like, oh geez, this person is creeping on me. When we're talking about convention safety, we're not necessarily referring to those sorts of inadvertent moments. of awkwardness. We're referring to moments where your safety and sense of personal well-being is compromised in
Yeah,
some
you're
way.
at risk. You're in some sort of danger that you really shouldn't be in at a freaking convention.
Well, the hard thing is that we are all trained to be polite and nice to strangers.
Right.
Even when a stranger has crossed your personal boundaries, we are trained to say things like, excuse me, or pardon me, or no thank you, as opposed to, stop, this is not okay, or I feel uncomfortable. And
Right.
that's something that is taking me. I'm not saying has taken me because I'm still working on it. So I'm going to use the present progressive. That is something that is taking me a while to get comfortable with in and of itself, is the idea that if I can't predict who is going to make me feel uncomfortable, then I can at least prepare myself for what I can say or do should I be put in a situation like that.
Right.
So, I'm going to assume that every cosplayer at some point is going to meet some person who in some way is going to make them feel uncomfortable. It might be something they say, it might be something they do, it might be the way they comport themselves or how they look at you. But there is going to be a time when you are in cosplay at a convention where you are going to feel uncomfortable. And there are some things that you can do to keep yourself from becoming a victim or keep yourself from feeling victimized.
Right. Right. So, I mean, I came up with a couple of things, little bullet points here on my little note sheet.
Ooh, lay it on, and I'll add on as I.
Yeah. So I guess just how to handle quote unquote creeps in general. You could try to be, again, like you said, like we're all trained to be polite and nice to strangers, but just try to be firm. Like I know what you said, like it's something that you're working on, like just trying to, again, things like this is uncomfortable, stop, this isn't a good idea, stuff like that. Mainly other notes I have here are traveling with your friends, like being in a
Yeah.
group. That also helps. Um Let me see here.
And kind of as an add-on to that, some people don't want to travel with a friend, or they want to feel like, I know I sometimes want to just go off and do my own thing without tying somebody down. Like if I want to go to a particular booth and my friend is enjoying the booth that they're at, I don't want to say like, well, you have to move now because I am going to this booth. It's
Right.
also helpful to just have a person who's at the convention who knows where you are and knows a place that and a specific time you intend to meet up.
Right.
Because then at least if you are not present there, that can be cause for a friend to be like, I'm going to check in on them. So if you're not traveling with somebody, having someone to check in on or check in with is a helpful backup.
Yeah. Or like having like designated meetup spots if possible. Like setting up at certain times, meet up at this place just to do a little check in. I know one common theme, one common thing I've just heard in general, just when talking about how do I put this? Like females supporting each other. Like some females will write down or share like hey, like if you're ever like being creeped on by someone and like we're near each other, you could just give me a look and that I'll know. And that they basically like two females that are strangers will just like actively just start acting like they've known each other for years as a way to like help, I guess, escape the awkward / uncomfortable situation.
It doesn't take much to adopt somebody into your comfort. I was at a convention where a girl had attracted the attention of a middle-aged man who we were in a competition together, and she wound up spending time in the competition green room with us because this guy had just been outside following her and tried to follow her into the competition green room. She was like, "No, this is competitors only, like, I'm sorry." And then just like hung out with us. So we didn't know this girl very well. We had only met earlier that day, but when she's like, "Guys, I just need to hang out in here," we were like, "Of course, like, let's contact convention security. Like, let's play some calm music, feel better. We'll tell some jokes. Like, we made a safe space for this girl because she was having a hard time figuring out what to do without over escalating a situation. Because that's something I think we all as humans fear, is being that one problem person who made something out of nothing. But when it comes to convention safety, it's never I made something out of nothing. I've had my own personal experiences where I've had somebody who would not take no for an answer, would not leave me alone, be my personal problem, where I made it very clear that I wished to be left alone, but this individual couldn't do that, whether he willfully chose not to or was unable to kind of control his own impulses. Anyone's guess. But one thing that I found comfort in is that when my friends urged me to speak to convention security, their first reaction wasn't like, "Well, did you tell them to stop?" They were like, "All right, we're going to keep some eyes on you. Thank you for." I gave them a description of the person, and they were responsive. They helped me feel safe at the convention because that is what the security team at a convention is supposed to do.
Yeah, that's very good that they didn't do, like you said, the typical like, "Well, did you tell them to stop?" That's very good.
Right. I mean, that's something that as a teacher, I will say to my students, if they have someone, if they go up to me and be like, "Someone told me I was a baby." I'm like, "Well, are you a baby?" "No." "Did you tell them that you do not like when they call you that?" "No." Let's start with there. But that's something that I'm teaching a child to respond to, as opposed to here where I'm seeking the advice of somebody who could protect me. Like, that's not a teachable moment. That's an I'm scared and I need help.
Right. Right. I guess best travel methods in crowds.
I'm all for traveling in crowds when it is applicable, when you are able to. And then I think the other thing to do is to just be aware of what your own personal boundaries are. Because if you walk to a convention blind and you don't have in your head what's acceptable versus what is unacceptable, it's going to be hard to figure out on the fly when that line has been crossed, especially if it's someone who you met at this convention and you've become kind of like convention friends for the day. If that person crosses your comfort zone, if they go from friendly to vaguely threatening or negging, because you can also have emotional lines that are crossed, that's where it's important for you to know where your own boundaries are.
Right. Exactly.
And that's true not just for people you've just met, but for friends as well. Because I've had plenty of friends who, as I've gotten to know them, they've gotten to know there are certain things that I don't like. Prime example, because I teach children and I teach children with special needs. I do not like it when my friends use the R word, because they usually use, like, my friends usually would use it as a pejorative, kind of like how people used to call other people gay as an insult. Like it's like that to me. It's like, wow, that's
Right.
deeply inappropriate.
Right. Right.
So that's something that, I've had friends, I still do have friends who use that word, and I'm like, hey, maybe, like, that brings me to my uncomfort. That makes me feel uncomfortable. Let's stop.
Yeah. Right.
It doesn't impinge on my safety, but there are some times where jokes impinge on my safety, especially when there are jokes that are made at my expense or made to make me feel less than my best or less than unequal to the person I'm speaking with.
Yeah.
Like, I can make self-deprecating humor about myself, but if you make self-deprecating humor about me, then it's not really funny. You're just teasing me.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It happened to almost everybody.
Right. So, I mean, truthfully, the conversation that we're having, while geared toward cosplay, truly is a navigating any public space, like, PSA.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, any public space, it's a good idea to travel in groups or have somebody who knows where you are and you can check in on, or they can
Yeah.
check in on.
For sure. Just thinking, I guess when you're seeing cosplayers as guests and like you want to take a photo with them, just be respectful of how you're posing with them, or like where you put your hand on them. Like generally, I know in my case, I've usually been fine with like putting like my hand either over their waist or their shoulder. Totally fine, because I mean I've known some of these girls for years, and
You know what works really well, no matter how little or much you know someone?
oh what?
Just asking, is it okay if I?
Oh yeah, that too. No, completely agree.
Like,
Yeah,
check in with somebody from the get-go is like, I have friends who I have known for a decade who will still ask if it is okay if they put their arm around me when we pose for a photo. And I love every time, because on Wednesday, maybe it is okay, but on Friday, it isn't. Like,
sure.
that
Yeah,
is beautiful. I live for that. Um, or like, and that's true also of, like, if you're taking someone's photo. Actually, a hilarious moment of photo etiquette. My friends and I have adopted this philosophy that we implement. If we see someone who has a camera who's trying to take a photo but is not asking for permission, we don't post. We just, like, go about our business, and sometimes we'll just look away. If they ask, "Can I get your photo?" they get great poses. And so this happens all the time, where someone will be trying to sneak a photo, which is weird, because if they just ask, I will
oh
give
yeah.
pose. So someone tries to sneak a photo, and, like, we give them garbage. Like, it's just like we don't even stop walking. But then another person's like, "Excuse me, can I get your photo?" And then we're like, "Oh yeah, hang on a second." Then we do these, like, great and grandiose poses, or we pull out props that we had hidden, and, like, we do these great poses. And then there's that person who snuck the photo, like, does a double take, comes back, and then they ask, "Oh, can I get a photo too?" And they're like, "Absolutely. Thank you for asking."
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but, like, that's how you train folks.
Yeah, no.
picture?
You gotta ask.
Yeah, consent, yo.
It's just more polite. Yeah, I definitely have been more prone to asking again, like even the one that I've known for a long time now, just to double check 'cause I don't want to accidentally overstep a boundary. And it's been helpful. Like I know they appreciate it and whatnot.
Oh, of course.
Um,
And I find honestly, the people who have a problem with asking, the people who don't ask, are not people you want to associate with anyway. I've been
no.
in a place where someone took my photo without asking, and a friend of mine confronted them. They were like, "That's not okay. You need to ask permission. Like that's a person. You're disrespecting her. Like don't you even want to know her name?" He was like, "No, I just wanted a picture. Bye." And
Oh,
like walked.
jeez.
Any person who responds to that kind of like light slap on the wrist with defensiveness rather than humility, it's not a person I necessarily need in my life.
No, not at all.
But if I had gone up to him and said, like, I'm gonna need to delete that, he'd be like, what the what? Like,
yeah. Yeah. I guess just make sure that you keep your props. It will
no, I feel like there's no make sure you keep your. If you see someone who is trying to grab your prop, you pull it away and say, you can ask me to touch it.
Oh yeah, same rule applies. Yeah.
Oh my good God. I've had people grab for things that they think that they can touch just because it's in my hands and they want to see. They're like, oh my God, I really love your bow, they say as their hands are reaching towards it. And I pull it away and I'm like, oh, thank you. Did you want to touch it? Like, I'll call them out. I'll be like, oh, did you want to touch it? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, okay, here are the places that you can touch it because the rest of it's a little delicate. And then I'll always hold control of my own prop.
Yeah.
If I know that my prop is unbreakable, then I will relinquish control of my prop. But if I'm not even like, if there is a bit of me that thinks that this prop might be damaged in some way, I will not hand it off. I'll be like, here, leans it towards you. You can see it, but I won't relinquish control because if that prop breaks, the person who's responsible for it won't know how to fix it. I will not be in a position to fix it. And the person who's responsible for breaking it has all the right in the world to just disappear into the crowd. And it's not their problem, but it is my problem.
Now it is. Yeah.
Right. And then I've spent many a convention brooding about like, oh, I can't believe this prop broke and I have no idea how to fix it at this convention.
Oh, yeah, no, been there, done that.
Yeah, for real.
Mainly in cases where like I didn't know that like my prop didn't meet like the safety standards, so I basically went to a con as Nightwing where I couldn't bring the sticks that I had made, which were out of wood because I guess they were too hard. So that really bummed me out, and then prompted me to buy foam weapons that Nightwing uses, just so that like I'm like future proofed to not have that happen again.
That just, I guess, really comes down to double check before you enter on what the rules for props are.
Yeah. Any other last minute tips that are coming to your mind, or do you think we covered a good chunk?
But I think that if anybody listening has any additional things that they want to add, they should absolutely write in and give suggestions. What's a good place to write into?
Good place to write into for suggestions. You can. Oh, you could email my Facebook page for the show, Cosplay Bites.
Go ahead, plug it.
Yeah. I keep forgetting that I have a Facebook page for the show. I never plug it.
Remember that BYTES.
Yeah. Any other suggestions or topics to help keep the show lively? You can message them to me on my Facebook page, which is Cosplay Bites. That's actually got to be the more proficient way to do it instead of just me blasting out my email because yeah, that's pretty much it. I know the other thing that I wanted to do an episode with Mink on, and I mean we could implement like the whole teach a technique segment into it, but definitely stay tuned for a budgeting for cosplay episode because I definitely want to try to get that in there. But I think, unless we got nothing else to say, that is a good spot to end it on.
Sounds great. As always, anyone out there listening, please, I encourage you to come follow me on social media. That's Mink the Satyr on pretty much everything except for Snapchat and TikTok. Those are for teens.
Yep, and then I've got the Lightning Palace blog, my free to view Patreon, but if you become a patron, I can give you some little goodies, the Cosplay Bites Facebook page, and then wherever the heck you want to listen to the show. Yeah. So thanks so much for listening, and